Hello guys, and welcome to Banjo-Kazooie Part 3, i.e. Banjo-Kazooie let's just mess around with glitches. Today we're gonna deal with Freezeezy Peak, and also Mad Monster Mansion, whilst also doing a few little glitches along the way, which will be all fun and games. And today we're going to be doing, now we're just unlocking Freezeezy Peak, which is at the back. You could use a better method. I was trying my best to get along, but slow timers in this game, I didn't know about them when I was filming this, so yeah, you can get across that without taking damage. But I did, but at least I got to the other side, which was the most important thing. However, you do need to make it back out, otherwise you will do this. Oh dear. So first we're going to collect our first Jiggy for today, which is the Spring Jiggy near thingy-ma-what's-it. It's the Gobi's Valley one. It's Gobi's Valley Witch Switch Jiggy. So you have to just spring on that and just roll in, and because it's weak enough and the Jiggy exists even if you haven't pressed the Witch Switch, which they have fixed for the Xbox Live version, then you get the Jiggy because you kind of clip through and you hit the hitbox of the Jiggy, and that's a very easy Jiggy. There's a few other Jiggies which you can get without actually hitting the Witch Switch, but get the Witch Switch Jiggy. I think that's the only one that I did. I do get the Freezeezy Peak Witch Switch Jiggy, but I didn't know that you could actually hit it without actually opening the door, which kind of takes a while. So firstly we're going to start off with our first glitch for today, which is unloading all the twinkly munchers, which are the things which munch these little Christmas lights. So all you have to do when the text finishes, hit that first bloke there, and then just stay back here really. I'm going to, yeah, you'll notice it immediately goes to 1. That's not a part of the actual game. It doesn't go, well, you must have hit 8 twinklies. No, I actually did a bit of editing there. Funny enough, editing does exist within my videos. Oh dear, yeah, you can tell my Banjo-Kazooie stuff is very heavily edited because you just get a lot of boring stuff naturally. And I'm trying, this time, I filmed this 4 times I think now, so there's 80 minutes worth of it's now about 100 minutes worth of just me just talking and then failing because I sound like a boring old person. I may sound like a boring old person this time, who knows, but hopefully this time, well, you will hear this, but I'm trying to keep myself more on track than I normally do. I'm trying to more talk about the game rather than just what's happening in life, because that's just needs to be talked about, and especially in this part where you have several glitches within the space of about 5 minutes. I mean, you don't get them at the moment, but you will get them, and they'll be they'll come thick and fast, which is pretty. I have to explain it pretty quickly, let's say. So all you have to do now is just go through the star a couple of times. It's one of the easier things you have to do within this game, and then once you've done that, the whole Christmas tree Jiggy thing is unfrozen or shattered or whatever way you want to see it, and then you can pick it up, and so that's one of the Jiggies which we're going to pick up. But first, why not collect the notes? This level you have to, or my way of doing it is getting 100 Jiggies, not Jiggies, notes. You'll also notice I make a few blunders here and there. You also have to get 100 notes within this level, and you have got to use a bit of damage invulnerability. Before I get onto it, there's a note that I miss, which is, if I look out for the pointy finger, it's on the other side of the Christmas box, so there. I miss it, but I collect it later off camera, so don't worry. That I did pick up that one, so remember to pick up that one. But if you're lazy like me and didn't collect all the Mumbo tokens, then you're not going to have enough to transform into the walrus, which means that you can't get all Jinjos in this level because there's one in Waz's cave. You can't get all honeycombs because there's one in Waz's cave, and you cannot get... you take damage from the icy water, and in the end it helps like not transforming into Wazza if you're doing any percent, because Wazza is not Wazza, it's the walrus, but like I'm thinking of Wazza, aren't I? It helps not transforming into the walrus because the walrus is like slow as hell, and you will get like when I first played this game, I was just thinking, come on walrus, just get to the other side of the map, where unfortunately Waz's cave was and you had to do all this and that, and I was just thinking, just get to the other bloody side. Yeah, if you're American, by the way, that's not like in England as far as I know, that's not a swear word, so don't worry, I'm not like starting swearing everywhere like you may see it with other Let's Plays channels. I'm not doing that. You may also notice for this part at least that my movement is kinda like one thing at once, it's not like several actions at once which you would normally see. And that's because I'm using a keyboard at this time. I do get a like integrated Xbox controller at a later date, but yeah. Now to collect or hit all of the slushes. Now we've done that, I mean, in my guide, which you can see in the description below, I did put this as a vital Jiggy, and that's because when I wrote it, funny enough at the time, I thought, you have to get it because you have to hit the witch switch, and therefore, if you're going to get the witch switch, you have to hit the slushes, and you might as well, rather than just, like, you might as well just get all of them and just get the Jiggy. But bear in mind that if you don't get the slush Jiggy, you can get the witch switch Jiggy, but you have to get a Jiggy somewhere else. So it's an important part-ish. And yeah, there's going to be a few Jiggy collections within short spaces of time soon. Firstly, remember you also have to collect all the Christmas presents. That's an important thing. Also, you have to collect this Jiggy in here, so that's the 29th Jiggy. There you go. And here is the 30th Jiggy, and I think that's the final one really in the not too distant future. That's the only one, and then I can't remember. Like, it's a long time since I filmed this, and it's been a long time since I've had to commentate on this. I've tried to give myself buffers here and there. For instance, Hideout Helm in 12 minutes, and then Ballum and Willis. Those, like, I'm not saying the sole reason why I did them was to give myself a buffer, but Hideout Helm in 12 minutes, I like really hammered home that one, and tried practicing it for ages because I thought this commentary, the commentary for part 3 simply wasn't good enough, or the previous commentaries I should say, that it simply wasn't good enough for me, and I had to just simply change it and just wait until I did actually a good commentary, which hopefully this one is. So that's the 31st Jiggy. Yeah, that was for hitting Boggy Pete. I think it's Boggy. Is that Boggy Pete, or is that Worm's character? That's Mr. Boggy. I'm getting, yeah, there's too many characters named Boggy. Oh dear. So that's your 32nd Jiggy. Yeah, again, it's just the standard Jiggy collection. It's nothing too out of the ordinary. Remember, you've also got to pick up all the presents, as I said earlier. So that's your green present over there. Quite interesting. You've got some notes at the back here. You don't have to race Boggy, luckily. For some reason, like, people have said, oh, that race is so difficult because of rubber banding. I never found that race difficult. I thought, oh, this is a pretty alright race. Sure, he does give you a bit of competition towards the end, but, like, it's nothing too difficult. But maybe that's just me. Maybe, like, like, yeah, maybe that's just like my understanding of rubber banding. The one race which is difficult for me is Canary Mary Part 2 it's just Canary Mary in Cloud Cuckoo Land in Banjo-Tooie on the XBLA version, because that one's really difficult, because obviously you haven't got the natural like lag factor in terms of like you can press a button once and it presses it 3 times on the N64 but only presses it once on the Xbox Live version, and that's just a general problem with the N64. What I'm trying to do now, if you're not following me, is I'm trying to collect these notes, because I need to 100% it in terms of notes. Also, I need to collect some here as well, I think. Yeah, I do. What was I about to say? Yeah, there's some, like, the whole, like, ground pound maneuver within this game, gives you invulnerability, so in a Grunty fight you can use damage invulnerability to, like, instead of Wonder Wing, which saves you golden feathers, which can help you at times. I tried it here, but apparently that's not quite enough. It does work once, which you'll see in about 5 seconds time when collecting the final one. I'm trying to stay alive, but I might as well just kill myself, do a death warp, and there, that is your 100th. Firstly, you need to hit that, that's a real important thing. And now, guys, it's time for the necessary glitching to begin. So, firstly, you have to hit this flight pad thing here, and that opens that. Now, normally, if you go into Gobi's Valley, you have the turbo trainers, which I've just passed by, but obviously we've never been into Gobi's Valley, nor will we go into Gobi's Valley until, like, it's towards the end of the actual sort of series, or this series. So what we use is pause buffering. You talon trot all your way, and as fast as you can you actually mash the start button, and because of some reason, I don't know the exact reason, but it gives you extra time in essence, which is always good. But it is still a close thing if you're... it can be close things in some cases. So if you didn't hit which switch Jiggy, or which switch, you can still collect that one. You just have to beat bomb into it, and you get close enough to the Jiggy to hit it. It's an interesting one. Here's the 350 note door skip. You have to sort of like upwards fly into that spot, and then beat bomb. There's more detailed videos about these by Cronikeys, which you can see in the description down below. But always just like check out the description if you want to see more detailed reasonings behind these, because like I'm not going to explain these like the best way, because I've got to explain them pretty quickly, haven't I? I was like the 350 note door skip took me forever to actually do in the end, because I think it's such a precise trick, and especially because I was using the keyboard, like it's so difficult to actually get like clipping in, and then of course you've got to turn the right way. I mean, it's a generally difficult trick in my eyes. Some people find it easy, some people may find it really difficult like me. One thing to note, remember to actually break open the gate before you actually head into the Monster Mansion, otherwise you'll actually waste some time actually opening the gate when you kind of need it. So you have to exit the level, come back in, transform into the pumpkin and whatnot, because you haven't opened the gate, which is always quite annoying. And so now we're about to collect this Jinjo. I think we actually collect it. No, I am a scaredy cat, because why not? Oh dear. Yeah. It's not the hardest Jinjo in the world. There's harder Jinjos within this game. I can't particularly think of one, but hey ho. Come on, get up there. That one's always a hard one to talent trot up, because for various reasons that can generally be difficult to talent trot up. You might as well collect that Mumbo token. I mean, it's not like you're going 2 hours of your way to get it. And in we go. this you have to stand on Tumbler, I think his name is, something like that. The ice thing in the middle. You're meant to stand on him and spell Banjo-Kazooie, which is like the classic thing to do. Greetings, oh solid one, I am Tumbler, the mighty solve the puzzle. I thought that followed on. So I think we're going to go into a time-lapse and time-lapse this. And that's the final letter, and finally we have collected the 35th Jiggy. We've still got a good, I think, 5 more to collect. Yes, I think so. Yep, thinking about it correctly, we've got 5 more to collect, which we do collect in this level, luckily. There's one, obviously, that we've missed from Trove Cove, which we pick up next episode, as I mentioned last episode. And that's because I was I must have noted down something wrong in my notes, like when I was writing out like what to do for every section and like how many notes I think I would need to get. This is like I noted down, oh hey, do this, and this, and I must have miscounted somewhere, which is quite rare for me. I am really good with counting sometimes, hence why I'm doing maths. Yeah. So we're trying to collect, and this is a very simple Jiggy, luckily, because we're collecting so many notes in here, and I think we also have to 100% this one in terms of notes. This is one of the easier Jiggies to collect, if you're not bad at actually standing on a pole like me. And we managed to get it in the end, but fairly difficultly, I must say. This one, like, if you've ever watched the Kirkhope interview with Game Grumps, and if you didn't know, Kirkhope is the composer of this game and Donkey Kong and Banjo 2, Perfect Dark 007, or GoldenEye, and also Nuts and Bolts, of course. He's composed for this game, and like they had a funny story with this one where Nintendo thought like he was obviously had to do it in a deep pitched voice to Pots, and they were saying like thank you, but because he had to do it in a deep voice, it sounded like from Nintendo's perspective that he said something quite rude, let's say, and he had to do it like 100 times or something like that, and just like really pronounce the thank to make sure that they didn't mishear it. And funnily enough, I think many parents, like after they bought the game for their kids, realised or thought that the Pots was saying rude words, and they complained to Nintendo saying, oh, I bought this game for my kid and like it said this word and I'm not too happy. I mean, it comes with some games sometimes, and I mean, nowadays that would just be normal if you were to hear that sort of language within the games. I'm going to do a video at some point, soonish, which is going to be like my gaming history. It's probably going to be next Monday, which is going to be looking over, like, basically my gaming history. Is pretty self-explanatory. And to be honest, like, you'd expect, because I'm 18 and like I'm now sort of like part of this stereotype that I'm meant to be like into these first-person shooters like Call of Duty, Modern Warfare, and all this sort of thing, that I'd be into those sorts of things. Actually, I am lucky enough that really my parents sort of like didn't like that sort of stuff. They like, we had a game called Serious Sam, and briefly, and then my parents realised it was very violent, and then my parents did not like us having it. And this was like when we were really young, and so the games that we grew up with weren't like your Serious Sams and your Call of Duties, which many kids unfortunately grow up with nowadays. They grow up with these violent games, and I'm not trying to be, oh, they grow up and they kill people. I mean, I know that like games aren't the reason why people are dying from kids like shooting their grandma. It's not because of that, but I'm lucky in the sense that I was part of an era which games, like my games were pretty nice. They were from Nintendo and they were all nice and shiny and stuff. And like Nintendo, like they were the great people back then, and to a certain extent they still are. They have dropped slightly. I mean, their games aren't quite as good, but I haven't played like a new Nintendo title in quite a while, so I may be proven wrong. But from personal opinion, I don't think they're quite as good this time. They should get Rare back, because Rare was really their big thing, and Rare is essentially my childhood in a weird way. Not in the sense of like GoldenEye, 007, Perfect Dark. It was more like your Banjo-Kazooie, Banjo-Tooie, Donkey Kong 64. I started playing Conker's Bad Fur Day recently. That's it's quite an interesting game. I'm loving it, especially Greg the Grim Reaper. That character is such a brilliant idea. Named after one of their developers, I think Greg Mails, which is quite interesting. They like to do a little bit of in-joking as well. And yeah, stuff and things. So now we've got to play this tune, so let's time-lapse it because it's long and difficult. And there we go, we've completed it. It's not difficult, I guess I take back those words. It's pretty simple, it's just really long to do. You may have heard like doors. That's because currently my family are in, and it's so awkward recording with family in. I am currently in my room where it's really cold, wrapped up in 10 ton of blankets because it's cold. It's really cold in my room and my feet are absolutely really cold, let's put it that way. But we'll get through it nevertheless. And we've only got a few minutes left of commentating, so it shouldn't be too awkward, I guess. I've just got to talk really quietly like this. You may not be able to hear me because I'm whispering. You may be able to hear me. If you can't hear me, then that may be a problem. Okay, so that's the 40th. And that's the 40th Jiggy. We've got to collect a few more notes along the way, like these ones, and also these ones, and also we have to open and raise the water level, so I'm going to time-lapse it like this. And there we go, and that might be it. So anyways, thank you so much for watching. I've been Ballum. This is the end credits. Signing out. All that's left is a window to my soul. Come and get it.